the pitch is going to be done by Klaus Dibbern from Flink. Welcome.
Does it work? Thank you very much.
Like ride-sharing is Mitfahrzentrale online.
Okay, hello, I'm happy to present. Some of you may have heard me before in the panel discussion. I'm going to talk to you about Flink, the idea behind Flink, where we are, what we try to accomplish. Flink is all about dynamic ride-sharing, and the key is, I think, here in the subtitle, tap into your mobility network anywhere and anytime. Let's see, does it work? Okay, this is a quote by the former German federal president. In order to remain mobile in the future, we have to rethink things completely. And that's basically the advice we took. We looked at mobility and looked at what's out there, what can be taken advantage of, what needs to be changed. And if you look at mobility in general, there are several challenges. But two numbers stand out, and the two numbers are that on average in every car there are 1.3 people, meaning that there are 3 seats empty in every car. And the other number is that 80% of all rides that we do are short in nature, so they're shorter than 40 kilometers. There are traditional carpooling offerings out there, Mitfahrgelegenheit and others. They address long routes, pre-planned routes between larger cities. So you have to sit down, you have to plan your route in advance, and it's only for long routes. We take the other approach. We want to address these short routes as well as the long routes. In terms of competition, there are some established incumbent transportation systems, obviously. There's public transport, there's trains, and we don't really see them as competition. We see Flink as a potential feeder service for Deutsche Bahn, for example, for people to get to the train station and from the train station back home. There's, as I mentioned, the carpooling platforms in the internet. They don't address the market that we're addressing. And there's some small startups in that arena. We saw this morning a car together from Daimler. It's basically an evolving market. So what we do is we combine the capabilities of smartphone with sat-nav system and mix that with social networks to bring people together in a car. I'm going to explain to you in a minute how that works. After I address the market, I've already spoken about the competition. The market itself is huge. I mean, you must just imagine, in Germany alone, 36 billion rides a day, and every one of these rides, there's only 1.3 people on average in there. So there is a huge potential. There's a transport system out there which we don't need to reinvent. We just have to take advantage of that. The market is growing. We are looking currently only at Germany, but we are being approached by partners, by governments abroad that want to take advantage of our technology, of our approach to ride sharing. Where do I have to point this? Okay. Now let's get to how does Flink work. You can use Flink anywhere and anytime. At the core of Flink, there's the Flink server, which does the route matching, where people who use the Flink service are registered, and the Flink server syncs the different devices that you can use to utilize Flink. So in a car, Flink is in your navigation system. On the route, wherever you are mobile, Flink is on your smartphone. And if you're at home, you use your computer to plan your routes, to look for a ride or to offer a ride. And all of this is synced by the Flink server. So the dynamic process, just to picture this, is you're driving in your car with, in the first step, Navigon on your smartphone turned on. And you just say, for example, I would say, I drive home. It's one button on the navigation system. The navigation system guides me home, and Flink is turned on. A passenger who has some similar route to the route that I'm taking is somewhere, has his smartphone out, and he inputs, I want to go to the airport, for example. Flink matches these two routes. Flink matches the route of the driver with his current location and his destination, and the ride request from the potential passenger. And in the car, I see in my navigation system, hey, Klaus wants to go with you. I see Klaus's picture, I see how he has been rated by other people, I see how much money I get for the ride, and I see how big the detour is for me. I accept, and the navigation system automatically directs me to the passenger's location, to his destination, and to my final destination. Payment is done electronically, cashless in the background. So that's the basic idea in this dynamic scenario. You can also use Flink for pre-planned, this doesn't really work properly, okay. For pre-planned and longer routes, so it covers basically the whole story around ride sharing. Just to summarize, we are different in that we're integrated in navigation system. We arrange rides of any length between real addresses, so it's house-to-house ride sharing. We match partial routes. Starting and endpoint don't need to be the same for driver and passenger. It's for spontaneous rides as well as pre-planned rides, and we have this automatic sync capability. Now, how do we get to the market? And here the key is social networks. Users build their own mobility network. Each of you has his or her personal mobility network. You know friends, colleagues, friends of friends, and colleagues of colleagues who are driving around all the time, but you don't know where they are, and you don't know when they drive, where they drive to, but you would potentially want to drive with them. And we take advantage of that. So social networks and ride sharing is something that cannot be separated. And we put together this slide kind of jokingly, but if you look at the evolution of status updates or the evolution of social networks, then you can say Twitter is all about thoughts. Who would have thought that Twitter would be a success 3 years from now? Or 3 years earlier, nobody would have. Twitter is about thoughts. Facebook Places, Foursquare, and Gowalla is about location. Where am I and who wants to join? And Flink could become the social network or the social approach to mobility. Where am I going and who wants to come with me? That's basically what we're going to utilize. And I can demonstrate actually the product live to you later on 2x2 basis. Just 2 more slides. Where do we stand? We have founded the company in May of last year. We have 1.2 million euros in funding from KfW and ESB in Rhineland-Pfalz. We currently have 12 employees. We are integrated in Navigon, and we are cooperating closely with Deutsche Telekom. We will start a Germany-wide technology test invitation only next week. And yeah, additional funding is required. So we have funding for this year, but at the end of this year, we will need additional funding of approximately 1 million. In terms of founders and management, very quickly, I met the idea of Flink in November of 2009. Students at the University of Darmstadt who studied media system design had developed a prototype of Flink, had done all the market research, and they were pitching at conferences like these. And I was sitting in the audience like you. I had started a company before and sold successfully, and I was looking for my next challenge. So I met up with those original founders, and we are quite a good team because we can cover kind of all aspects that you need in a startup. We are underway very well, and I invite you to sign up on our webpage, to go to our webpage, sign up for the technology test. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I've got a question for you, the first question. I see you want to transform all of us in taxi drivers, but why don't you do it for the taxi people? It's their job.
Well, first of all, taxis are pretty expensive. So the traditional taxi, and there are lots of tariffs out there which are regulated, so it's very hard to get into that. There are already many taxi apps out there, My Taxi, Cab4Me, and others, where you can call a taxi with an app. And we want to partner with these. So that's basically the answer to your question. The ideal scenario is that you can arrange private rides within Flink, and if you don't get a match or you don't get a ride, you're being directed to a taxi button, and then you can call a taxi.
So welcome to us here in Ecosummit TV studio. We have Klaus Dibbern with us, and he's from a company called Flink. Can you tell us a little bit in detail?
The first product, which we will start testing Germany-wide next week, is an iPhone app. And in the iPhone app, you can just, wherever you are, so for example, from here, I could say, I want to go to the airport. You just input that. And with that, you have a ride request out there. And car drivers who are traveling here within Berlin or within the outskirts of Berlin, they have their Navigon navigation system turned on, and Flink is inside Navigon. Our first partner is Navigon, and we have an open API, so we want more navigation systems to be attached to that. What I described now is the dynamic approach, this fully dynamic approach. Obviously, we can do the same on the PC. So basically there's a Flink server which does the route matching, and then there's navigation systems, there's smartphone apps, and there's the web portal, and the server keeps all of them in sync. So you can plan your route from home, and you can either ask for passengers or ask for a ride. Then you are matched, and once you're in a car, you are being directed to wherever you need to go.
And what's your strategy for spreading this idea and to let people actually start using it? And
that's actually where the term social mobility network comes into play. Every one of us has a mobility network. Every one of us has friends and colleagues and friends of friends and colleagues of colleagues who are traveling in the area all the time, and we just don't know where they are and who's going at which time. So we encourage, we will interact closely with the existing networks, and we will encourage users of Flink to invite their friends to Flink so that they build their personal mobility network. That is also a matter of trust. You need to have trust if you travel with somebody.
Are people concerned for their safety?
More so in the US than here in Germany or here in Europe. But what we do is first this network of trust where you have first, second, third level relatives or relationships. And on the other hand, you can rate drivers and passengers after the trip. So you see once you get a potential match, you see how this driver has been rated by other people.
Do you plan to go out of Germany in the future?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, we're currently only looking at Germany. And even though we don't have a product out, we already have 1,500 people registered on our website, and daily, even though we don't do any real marketing, more people are adding to that, and they're discussing with us in forums what they would like to see in the product and how they want to use the service. And we get, without really asking for, we get requests from abroad. So we have a request from Norway, actually. We have requests from South Tyrolia, Italy. We have requests from Moscow. Moscow has horrible problems with traffic, and there are like 30,000 illegal taxi drivers who basically look for a way to get passengers. And so we are basically not pushing, we are being pulled into other markets.
So you constantly get feedback and you improve the quality of the service?
Yes, absolutely. The whole product development is very user-centric. You can call it with a buzzword, customer-focused innovation. That's what this part of the Darmstadt University is all about, to pull in the potential users of a service very, very early, and to do agile product development with the input of these users.
And how can you make it profitable?
According to business plan, that should be quite easy. It's a long run that we need to make. We will take a small transaction fee for every ride that's being done. So one thing I didn't mention is we calculate a fair price for each ride, and then we basically take a part of that money to finance our company. And another thing I didn't mention is that this whole payment process should be done electronically, so that you get in the car, you press a button on your smartphone, and the payment is done, and you don't have to worry about cash on that. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.